This is how adaptive refresh rates on iPhone 13 Pro and other phones work. Here is what adaptive refresh rate means, how it changes user interaction with the smartphone. Every year, Apple adds one or two features in its flagship iPhone model, which, even if not new, has the capability to move the industry as a whole. This year was no different, with the recent iPhone 13 Pro range offering a 120Hz high refresh rate display, which Apple is calling ProMotion. Top-end Android phones from Samsung and others have had this feature for a couple of years now. But since Apple is making it easier for developers to benefit from this feature, it is going to get more adoption in the industry. Here is what adaptive refresh rate means, how it changes user interaction with the smartphone. What is refresh rate? Whether it is a TV, a PC monitor, or a smartphone, all devices constantly change the pixels they display to project the appearance of motion. Simply put, refresh rate means how many times the image on a screen can be updated or refreshed every second, much faster than your eye can detect. Refresh rate is measured in Hz. For example, your HD TV at home has 60 Hz refresh rate, like the iPhone 12 series. A 60 Hz TV can refresh the screen 60 times per second, while 120 Hz on the iPhone 13 Pro can refresh the screen 120 times per second. The higher the refresh rate, the more times per second the screen is refreshing its pixels. Refresh rate versus frame rate. While the refresh rate is the number of times per second an image is refreshed or flashed on the screen, the frame rate is the rate at which frames appear in display and form moving imagery. When a video is displayed on a screen, the speed at which it is played is also known as the frame rate. Experts believe the human eye can see between 30 to 60 frames per second. Movies are shot and played at a 24 frames per second rate. To be clear, there are 24 frames in 1 second of video. This is the standard frame rate for videos. If you are shooting a video using a smartphone camera, 30 frames per second is almost a standard now. Games, meanwhile, are created with up to 120 FPS. For the best visual experience, refresh rates and frame rates have to work together. For example, a mobile game running at 120 frames per second should look smooth at a 120 Hz display when compared to the same game running at 60 FPS on a 60 Hz display. So what is adaptive refresh rate? When a display has an adaptive refresh rate, like the ProMotion display on the new iPhone 13 Pro series, the refresh rate changes from 10 Hz to 120 Hz depending on the content being played. Some Samsung phones offer between 48 Hz to 120 Hz. So a static website will be played at a 10 Hz refresh rate and a game at a 120 Hz refresh rate. This means there is a little chance of under-delivering or over-delivering refresh rate. Apple is not giving users the option to set a default refresh rate on the phones as some Android phones do, but developers will have the ability to code in such a way that they can set refresh rates for different aspects of their app. When does the refresh rate matter? Faster refresh rates are usually better at handling motion, especially when watching action movies, playing video games, or scrolling through your Twitter timeline. If you are into hardcore mobile gaming, the high refresh rate display makes a huge difference. Would you see a drastic change in the way you use smartphones? Absolutely not. 60 Hz displays are good enough for average consumers, but companies like Apple, Samsung, and OnePlus believe a 120 Hz display is pro feature aimed at a specific audience. This is why the iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 mini are limited to 60 Hz display, while the top-end iPhone 13 Pro series has a display that can go up to 120 Hz. Does a high refresh rate impact gaming? Yes and no. If you play a casual game like Super Mario Run or way surfers on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it does not really take advantage of a 120Hz ProMotion display. But if you play Altos Odyssey or Dead Trigger 2 on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, those games will benefit from using the 120Hz display. You will actually notice that this results in improved motion resolution, reduced ghosting, and better responsiveness. A lot of what adaptive display offers is driven by the powerful processors and low temperature pro-crystalline oxide displays that are making their ways to phones these days, even more so when the system has to decide what refresh rate to show when. But a high refresh rate could impact the battery life. Another reason for adding an adaptive display in phones that can offer 120Hz display is the impact higher refresh rates have on battery life. So the adaptive refresh rate is the new iPhones and phones like the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra are designed to save the phone's battery life by boosting refresh rates only when they are really needed. Thank you.